I recently did a video about the prospects of the TV series Young Justice being renewed for a third season. And on the video, a lot of comments have been left, and I've seen that several people are confused as to why Young Justice was cancelled in the first place. Which is understandable, as it was a good show and very popular, so cancelling it does seem a bit odd. So I thought I'd make this video to explain the reasons why the show was cancelled. First of all, I need to explain how TV shows work. Most of you will know this part and wonder why I'm explaining something so obvious, but bear with me, it does make sense. A show works very simply. The more people watch it, the higher the ratings are, and the TV networks can charge more for the adverts played during the show's airtime. And that's how a show makes money. Basically, the more hits it gets, more people watch it, more money it makes. That's the obvious part. But when it comes to cartoons, the way that the networks make money changes slightly. Yes, the show still needs good ratings to keep going, but ratings aren't the only way the show makes money. In fact, it's not even the main way that some shows make money.
I've got intel linking LexCorp shell companies to the sale of weapons in both Relatias. You're profiting off this war. So what's your angle?
War income is pocket change compared to the billions to be made investing in a peaceful, united Relasia. And isn't it better to have peace, even if that scoundrel, Lex Luthor, profits from it?
That scoundrel may not survive to profit.
Cartoons make most of their money selling merchandise of the show, such as t-shirts, toys, figurines, and playsets of the characters in the show. A lot of shows make more money selling toys than they do from selling ad time on the TV show. A classic example of this is the TV series Star Wars: The Clone Wars, a show which didn't do very well in the ratings section, but it did sell a hell of a lot of toys, and so it was given 4 seasons. This was to keep new merchandise and new character designs being made, so that new toys could be made and then sold involving these new designs. And of course, to keep the existing merchandise of the show keep selling. Now, I'm not saying that the show was bad. Personally, I found it a bit hit and miss. Some episodes were great, others were a bit dull. But it was an okay show, it just didn't have a great deal of people watching it. But it didn't matter, because the Clone Wars sold a lot of merchandise, and thus made a lot of money, so the network kept making episodes. Now, this isn't true of every cartoon TV series, of course, but it is one of the main ways cartoons make money.
You can't possibly hope to beat me at my own game.
How about we trade dance partners? Deal!
And the problem with Young Justice was that although the ratings weren't low, I unfortunately can't provide you with the exact figures because I checked around on a lot of sites and they were kind of conflicting and I didn't want to give you the wrong numbers. But trust me when I say that none of them were low. The show got good ratings. But a lot of people watching this show were female, and statistically speaking, when it comes to buying toys, figurines and merchandise, boys buy more than girls. Now, that isn't to say that girls don't buy the merchandise of the show. I actually have a few female friends who have several of the Young Justice figurines. But in general, girls buy less toys than boys. Though in part this is because of the merchandise that is being sold from superhero TV shows, as it's aimed primarily at boys and not a lot of the products are aimed at girls. So even if girls do want to buy the merchandise, the products aren't aimed at them, they're aimed at boys, so they probably wouldn't like them.
You settling in here okay?
Oh yeah, it's just like home.
I know this is all very new and intimidating, but I promise you, someday, you'll get used to watching Wally eat.
But the point is that because of the more mature themes of Young Justice that made it such a great show, its audience tended to be a large part female, and according to Paul Dini, one of the show's writers, the TV executives didn't like this. This is because the show's time slot was designed to sell toys to young boys. And they didn't want mature themes and relationships, they wanted goofy, funny and irrelevant humour, such as a TV show like Teen Titans Go. This is because they wanted a show aimed at young boys, not females or older audiences, just young boys who could get their parents to buy them lots of toys.
What was that?
Infinity Man. We merged to become part of the Source, and greater than the sum of our parts.
Glad my team's not that close.
Lower beings tend to fear intimacy.
Now you may be thinking, couldn't they have just sold merchandise aimed at girls and at older audiences? And you're right, they could have. And I can't give you the exact reason that the executives didn't think to do this. It may have just been laziness on their part or that they didn't want to take a risk. But one of the reasons is probably this. TV executives have different shows for different audiences. When it comes to selling merchandise to girls, for example, they have shows such as Superhero High or Bratz.
Through Superhero High's advanced training curriculum, dedication to the arts, and rigorous academic programs, students master their superpowers, brain power, and willpower to become the superheroes of tomorrow.
These are designed to sell merchandise to girls, whereas Young Justice time slot was aimed at selling toys to boys. So, when the market research came back and showed that a lot of the audience was girls, they decided to get rid of the show. Because this show wasn't designed to sell toys to girls, it was designed for boys. And so, if it wasn't reaching the boys they wanted, they decided they just needed a new TV show. And that is the real reason Young Justice was cancelled. The very things that make it such a great show, mature themes, dealing with emotional issues and relationships, along with great action and good storytelling, were also the very things that led to it being cancelled. The executives didn't want a show that good. They wanted something dumber, aimed at younger audiences, just to sell some toys.
So everyone keeps saying, it makes me angry!
Which kind of sucks, to be honest, because personally I prefer the older themed TV shows, and there just aren't any superhero shows that are really aimed at adults or at least mature audiences. I mean, we get a couple of DC films in a year, true, but we don't have many TV shows, and 2 films a year is not much really. One other thing that I need to say is that in my video Young Justice Season 3 update, I quoted a website that said Netflix were looking for 200,000 hits a month on Young Justice and then they would renew it. Sadly, one of the show's creators, Greg Weisman, has said that these figures are baloney and that Netflix haven't released any exact figures yet. Now, while it is possible that Greg Weisman just hasn't seen the reports of the exact figures Netflix wants, it's probably much more likely that they're just not true. That being said, everything else I said in the video stands. Netflix have had meetings with Warner Bros. And Greg Weisman about renewing Young Justice. They just haven't released any exact figures about how many hits they need the show to reach before they'll renew it. But my apologies for giving you false information. But remember, the more times you watch the show on Netflix or buy their DVDs and merchandise, the more likely it will be renewed. And it probably will be renewed eventually, it'll just speed the process up. And I'd also be interested on your thoughts on the show getting cancelled. Do you think the executives were right to end the show, or that cancelling it just because a lot of girls watch it is not justified in the least? Be sure to let us know in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching, and feel free to subscribe, share, like, and comment.